Hi everyone, welcome back to Family Law Assistance. So you guys knew that this video was coming, and you probably already guessed that lockdown wherever you are in the country was about to happen. So whatever tier of lockdown that you are, I'm here today just to check in with you guys, give you the update on what's going on, give some help and a bit of advice for all of you that are going through stuff right now. So like I said, lockdown is here, and it doesn't matter what tier you are in the country, you're all going to be facing the same kind of challenges. And part of those challenges, hey Erica, I'm doing good, how are you, sweetheart? Part of that challenge is understanding where we're at if you're struggling, whether you're in court, whether you're struggling to have contact with a child, whether you're the other side and you're the parent that is struggling to have contact with the other parent, whether you're in the middle of proceedings and you're thinking, what's going on? Whether you're in proceedings and you're thinking, hang on, I had a hearing booked on this date, but nobody showed up. So what's all that about? So, Erica, exhausted. Yeah, I hear you, girl. Although I haven't got baby teething. So just putting that out there. So, first of all, let's just talk about the state of the courts right now. Okay. Now, when lockdown hit, if you remember that far back, but when lockdown hit, first of all, the courts, it was almost as if the silence was deafening, and everything, the country, the courts, everything just ground to a halt. And then things started picking up again, and the courts finally got their act into gear and introduced virtual hearings. And, you know, for a little while, we've been settled into this kind of routine of virtual hearings. We all kind of got used to sending stuff by email. The virtual world was something that we decided to settle into. Now lockdown has hit again, and boy oh boy, the courts have just been backed up. Now I will say this, not every court in the land is the same. So we're finding some courts are really great at this, some courts less so. Now I get it from a logistical point of view, you know, you've got it same old, right? So you've got Department A not speaking until to Department B. So when we come to sort of getting documents sent over, it's a real effort to make sure that, all right, we may have sent the courts into the documents in the court, but can we realistically get that from A to B? Tony, hi. I will be answering some of your questions in a sec, so you know, just bear with, because I know that I've had a lot of questions. People have been DMing me asking me to talk about this, and quite frankly, I've seriously just got the time and space just to exhale and go, right, okay, now that we've had the announcement, words for Kyla, the announcement from the Prime Minister, now I thought I'm gonna to jump in on and check in on you. And bearing in mind, of course, although we've had the announcement from the Prime Minister, listen, I live in Wales and we're just about ready to go down into a full lockdown. So if you're in Wales, it's the same, but probably just as bad. All right, so what we're finding is courts tend to be slow. There is a massive backlog. And listen, whether you're represented or not represented in these matters, there's an article, I think I've already posted this on the page anyway. There's an article by Judge Wildblood, who's, I know, famous, notorious. Either way, he's pretty straight talking. I've been in front of him a few times. He's pretty straight talking. But he put a article in the Law Gazette pretty much slating solicitors for making vexatious claims. And in fact, he blames solicitors for backing up, putting in cases that have no real prospect of success. Now listen, I am not here, by the way, to slate solicitors. A lot of good friends that I have are solicitors, and very often we kind of work hand in hand. But the point to be made is this, is that the courts have got a backlog. They are struggling. And like I said, no one court in the land is exempt from this. So brings me then to the issue of contact. Now, a lot of people have been saying, so what are the rules? What can I do and what can I not do? So if you've got a child and the child is used to seeing both parents, then that should continue. It's one of the exemptions that the government has made noticeable. I say that because when lockdown hit first time round, we watched, we analysed, we went onto the government website to make sure that the Prime Minister's words, it meant if you stay at home, stay at home. And so I remember the advice and the lives that we put out way back when was like, no, don't see kids, you know. But somebody must have saw sense, because at something like 20 to midnight, somebody from the government had gone onto the website and changed that. So off the live came down, make sure that we don't want to confuse people. But yeah, so the where we are now, it doesn't matter what tier that you're in. If a child has got two parents and they're seeing both parents, then that should continue. Similarly, if there's a court order in place that makes that the children have to see both parents, they still have to keep on doing that. Now, of course, devil's in the detail, right? Government can't legislate for everything, and neither can a court. So most of your court orders don't, for example, legislate for a global pandemic. So every case is on its own merit. What I would say is, and listen, most of the people that contact us are in that position where they don't have contact with a child, and we've seen it from both sides. We've had worried parents who have contacted us saying, gosh, I'm sending the child to the other parent and they're not observing social distancing, they're having parties and my child is not safe to go around there. And the flip as well of that, we've got people who contact us that say, look, you know, one parent is citing COVID as reason for not allowing contact. So I'm talking to the people right now, okay, who, if you are that person that has time with the child and that is being denied to you right now because of COVID, there is stuff that you can do. Listen, I'm always about conciliation, yeah. Stuff works better if people agree, but I get it, you know, I get it. People don't come on the phone to me when they agree with their ex. If this could be resolved over the virtual Costa coffee, then people like me just wouldn't be needed. So listen, guys, mediation, one of the pros I'd say of this, if there is a pro, is that boundaries are not a thing anymore. So stuff can be done virtually, and it kind of makes me laugh because like we were virtual and online like way before a global pandemic. We've got people and clients kind of all over the world, and because we covered the country from before a global pandemic, so I find it quite ironic really that now there is a global pandemic and all of a sudden people are getting virtual, all of a sudden people are getting online. So with that in mind, mediators, they're all doing online mediation now. So if you need mediation, do that. If the matter is urgent, absolutely, and you need that order enforced or you need to have a court order, make it, okay? We'll do the mediation, get that court order. If the matter is really urgent, and there are specific circumstances where that would be the case, then you can make an urgent application to the court. What I would say is this, and I'm telling everybody the same, because it certainly from what myself, our team of people have experienced, is that build in time. Now, before the global pandemic, just to give you an idea, because people watch things like an episode of Suits or LA Law, and it ain't that. Because if those dramas really reflected what actually goes on in a courtroom, it would be the most boring film ever. You'd see a lot of waiting around, you'd see a lot of stuff not happening. So to give you an idea, the time before global pandemic, so just bear that in mind, the time that you would issue an application to court, I don't know, say a typical C100, and then you have a court date, you were looking at between 4 to 6 weeks just to get a court date. before global pandemic. So the one thing I would say to you is, if you have to and are in that position where you need to make an application for contact, bear that in mind, okay? The glory has never been in the courtroom. I know, right? It's not quite sexy, is it? Actually, the magic happens before in the courtroom. The magic happens in the preparation. The magic actually happens in your paperwork. So this more than ever has highlighted the need for preparation. Okay? So in your paperwork, take in that amount of time. In that paperwork, make sure that you factor in all of that stuff, because what generally tends to happen at the moment, courts are kind of at a standstill. Yeah, so I think that's all I really wanted to update you guys on. I know there's going to be a heap of questions, and that's fine, okay? Pop them in the comments below. I'm just going to go back and read Tony, see if I can help now. I can. Proceedings ended. Oh, okay, that's kind of good. Social service was meant to do life story work with my son. Okay, so you're public law, aren't you? In October last year, still nothing. Order ended April. COVID, this COVID, that COVID, wasn't in full force till end of March. So just sorry to hear that, Tony. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. So just for all of you that didn't know, okay, there are two aspects really of child contact, if you will. There's private law. So private law tends to be mum and dad split, child, who does the child spend most time with, and you've got that application to make. That's private law, child proceedings. The other side is public law. So Tony, I guess in your case, there would be social services involvement. I just lost a bloody earring. I bloody have as well. So there'd be social services involvement, and it's often the state versus parent. In private law proceedings, you've got parent v parent, but in public law, you've got social services, local authority versus parent. So just want to point those two out. So a lot of people, when they're sort of asking for help, etc., often there's a big distinction. Now, private law proceedings, sometimes you do get social services involvement, and sometimes you do have that. There can be that tipping point in a private law proceedings where it almost tips into public law if there are ridiculously huge concerns, and there have to be local authority involvement. I'm so sorry to hear that, Tony. Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? Because COVID's kind of been used for everything, for rights and wrongs of it, whether it's true or not true. Everything is, well, because COVID. Thing is, things do have to proceed, COVID or no COVID. And I would say this about the courts. I mean, I'll always joke about the fact that the courts have taken their time to get into the 19th century, and all of a sudden, now they're going to be dragged kicking and screaming into the 21st century. So, you know, to say that there's an adjustment is huge. I mean, even before, so at the first lockdown, I remember actually having to have a live face-to-face trial. I think this trial was about 5 days. And at the time of this, all the court staff were like, well, we'll just wait for it to go back to normal. Despite the fact that actually there's been guidance issued solely in relation to virtual hearings. So virtual hearings, COVID reasons, are here to stay. And sometimes it's difficult to navigate around that. So actually, in my experience, sometimes it's quicker, sometimes it's not. But we are where we are. And at the moment, things in the courts have just kind of ground to a standstill. And things are more difficult. Contact centres were closed completely, and now that I think most of them are open now, but even with the ones that are open, they're having limited capacity because COVID, because the number of people that they're allowed in has dramatically reduced. So it's an absolute thing. Anyway, I've rambled on enough. I'm just trying to think if there's any news that I need to give you. I won't for the moment. I'll just leave it at that. Like I said, check in. We've got loads of blogs that are out, so check out the website. One of the most recent ones that we've got, personal favourite of mine, is Litigant in Person, the t-shirt. Amazing, go check that out. There's a whole wealth of stuff on here for you guys. some of you guys have been with us on this journey for God years, and to reflect that, you've only got to look at the website, you've only got to look at have a mooch around, there's been loads of lives like this, loads of blogs, loads of vlogs, loads of stuff here to help you. So guys, hope that's been of use. Have a great day. Over and out.